Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing an ANNIHIATION deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck just got some amazing support out of Alliance Insight that takes this deck to a whole new level. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Backup ANNIHIATION. This card is definitely a 3-out in the build because this card literally does it all. This card is a tuner, it's a Stratos, and it's an extender for this deck with the ability that if you control a Cyberse monster that was special summoned from the X deck, you can special summon this card from the hand. And if it's normal or special summon, you can actually add a Dark Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand, accept another copy of this card, then discard a card, which is an amazing ability to instantly grab the exact card you need off this card's effect. Plus, it's a tuner helping you go in for your synchro plays. We then play 3 copies of Picari. Picari is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card has an awesome effect that if it's normal or special summon, you can actually add an Ice Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is an amazing ability to instantly grab the exact card that you need. We then played 3 copies of a Chi-Chi. A Chi-Chi is an amazing normal summon in this build because this card has the effect that if it's normal or special summon, you can actually add a level 4 or lower ANNIHIATION monster from your deck to your hand, accept another copy of this card, which is an amazing effect to instantly search out your copy of Backup ANNIHIATION to help you extend your plays. We then play a single copy of Doyon. Doyon is really good as a 1-of in the build because this card helps out so much in the deck. And if it's normal or special summon, you can actually target an ANNIHIATION monster in the graveyard and add it back to your hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard as a material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, you can target an Ice Spell or Trap in the graveyard and add it to your hand, which is a great ability to instantly recover one of your Ice Spell or Traps back to your hand. And play a single copy of Bururu. Bururu is awesome in this build because this card is actually a walking Foolish Burial for the deck. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually send an ANNIHIATION monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is great to instantly send the exact card you need to the graveyard. And also this card is a tuner to help you go in for your synchro plays, as if this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for a synchro summon of a Cyberse monster, you can target a monster in your graveyard that was used for that synchro summon, accept this card, and special summon that monster, which is a great ability to help you revive back one of your materials. We then play a single copy of Danmari. Danmari is really good as a 1-of in the build, and I absolutely love this card because this card has the ability when an attack is declared involving your ANNIHIATION monster, you can special summon this card in your hand, and if you do, negate that attack. Also, while you control a Link 6 monster, quick effect, you can actually banish this card in the graveyard or the field to target a face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn, which is such a powerful ability to help you protect your plays while also using this card as a negate, which is so cool because we actually play a Link 6 in the extra deck. And play a single copy of Wizard ANNIHIATION. This card is an awesome new card that we recently got out of Alliance Insight with the ability that if you control a Cyberse monster that was special summon the X deck, you can target a Dark Cyberse monster in the graveyard and special summon both this card from your hand and that monster in defense position, which is an awesome ability. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest turn except Cyberse monsters, which is not that big of a deal. And also banish this card from the field at the graveyard to be able to target a monster your opponent controls and change its battle position, which is a pretty interesting effect, but this card helps you out a lot with your copy of Backup ANNIHIATION. We then play a single copy of Mathmech Circular. Mathmech Circular is just really good to be able to play as a small engine in the deck to be able to use to help us link climb, because this card lets us send a Mathmech monster from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from the hand, and if a Mathmech monster is normal or special summoned to your field while you control this card, you can actually add a Mathmech Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to instantly grab your copy of Equation from your deck to your hand to use it as a monster reborn. We then play a single copy of Sigma. Sigma is really good to send to the graveyard off your copy of Circular, so you can instantly bring this card back to your side of the field. Plus, this card is just an awesome card to be able to summon to your side of the field to help you link climb or go for an XZ play. When playing a single copy of Addition. Addition is a great addition to this deck because this card is a free extender that's super easy to search in this build. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of build just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is really good at stopping your opponent from touching the deck for the rest of the turn. We then play 3 copies of Fluros. Fluros is really good as a 3-of build just to help us dig into the deck for the exact cards that we need. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a 1-of in the build, just to stop your opponent's hand traps where you're going in for all of your plays. I'm playing a single copy of Mathematic Equation. Mathematic Equation is really good as a 1-of in the build, just to help you search this card from your deck to your hand off your copy of Circular, and use it as a monster reborn in this deck to help you further your link plays. I'm playing a single copy of Ignister Island. This card is searchable off of your Link 1 monster, which you want to just play a single copy in the build, but this card is insane to help you extend your plays, because if you control no monster in the main monster zone, you can actually special summon a level 4 or lower Ignister monster from your hand, but for the rest turn, you cannot special summon monsters with this same original attribute by this effect of this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters except for Cyverse monsters, and this card leaves the field, which is not that big of a deal, as that's usually all we're summoning anyways. But this card is also insane because if this card is in your graveyard, you can actually banish an Ignister monster from the graveyard to set this card, making it super easy to recover. We play a single copy of iConnect. iConnect is really good as a 1-of in the build, and I absolutely love the artwork of this card. But this card is insane in the build as a 1-of because it is searchable in the deck. Let you reveal a Cyverse monster in your hand to apply this effect based on its attribute. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest turn after this card resolves, except for Cyverse monsters, that if it's a dark monster, you can just special summon the revealed monster, and if you do, add a level 4 or lower non-dark Cyverse monster from your deck to your hand. And if it's an other type, you can just shuffle the real monster into the deck, and if you add 1 Ignister monster with a different attribute from your deck to your hand, helping you grab the exact card that you need, but I feel like 1 copy is really all you need in this build. We play a single copy of Reborn. Reborn is just really good as a 1-of in the build, and helps you out a lot in this deck because this card is basically a monster reborn for the build, helping you bring back the exact monster you need to your side of the field to help you keep going in for your plays. We then play 3 copies of I Met You. This card is really good as a 3-of in the build because this card lets you reveal a Cyverse monster with 2300 attack in your hand or your X check, and then add an Ignister monster with the same attribute from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to basically use this card as a rota for the build, instantly grabbing the exact card that you need. And also during the end phase of this turn, you take 2300 points damage if you did not special summon the revealed monster or monster with this same name after you resolve this effect, which you're always going to summon out the monster to your side of the field. But this card is just really good in the deck as a 3-of to basically use it as a rota for the build. We then play 3 copies of Signet Mining. Signet Mining is definitely a 3-of in the build as well, because this card is basically 3 more copies of Rhoda, and it's really good in the build to grab the exact cards that you need. It's insane the amount of searches this deck can actually do, and this card is just really good in the build to help you grab the exact card that you need. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Sidekick. Sidekick is really good in this deck, and a great one-of in the build is it lets you target face-up cards your opponent controls equal to the number of Cyberse monsters you control with 2300 original attack and negate their effects until the end of this turn, which is a crazy powerful disruption to basically use this card during your opponent's turn just to stop your opponent's plays, and also banish this card in the graveyard to target one of your banished Cyberse monsters and special summon it. You only use each effect of this card once per turn, but it's definitely a one-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of in the build as well, just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So, that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to play a single copy of the new Code Talker ANNIHIATION. This card is crazy powerful and actually the cover card of Alliance Insight. But this card is so good with the ability, if this card is Link Summon, you can special summon as many Cyberse monsters with 2300 attack from your graveyard as possible to your zones that this card points to. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of turn, which is totally fine because you're just going to basically make this card last to establish a walking negate. Because this card has the ability that when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can actually tribute one monster your Link monster points to be able to negate the activation if you banish that card, which is such a powerful effect to instantly just get rid of one of your cards, be able to negate and banish a card that your opponent has. We play a single copy of Firewall Dragon Singularity. Singularity is actually why I'm playing Dan Mori in the deck, because this card is actually a Link 6 in the build, and this card is crazy powerful because it has the effect to quick effect target cards your opponent controls or in the graveyard up to the number of different card types between Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, and Exile that you control and in your graveyard, and return them back to the hand. Also, this card gains 500 attack for each card return, and if a monster this card points to is destroyed in battle or sent to the graveyard, you can target a Cyberse monster in the graveyard and special summon it, and you can only use each effect of this card once per turn, but it's very good in this build to be able to play. We can play a single copy of Dark Fluid. Dark Fluid is also an awesome walking negate in this deck to basically just summon this card out to your side of the field and help you go in for game. Because if this card is Link Summon, you can place counters on this card equal to the number of different card types of Cyberse monsters in the graveyard between Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, and Exile, and this card gains 2500 attack points for each counter on it during the battle phase only. Also, when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can actually remove a counter from this card to negate the activation. Also, if the effect was activated between this card's attack declaration and the end of the damage step, this card can make another attack in a row, which is a pretty cool effect. And play a single copy of the original Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon is just really good as a one-of in the build, and just an awesome generic Link monster to play in the deck to help you just go in for game, and it's one of the most powerful Link monsters ever created. And play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is great to help you pop multiple cards on the field, and also comes out absolutely massive. And play a single copy of Dark Templar. Dark Templar is great at helping you swarm the board with your ANNIHIATION monsters, so we can basically link climb into the exact card we need. And play a single copy of Heat Soul. Heat Soul is super easy to make in this deck, and helps us draw a card by just paying 1000 life points every single turn. And play a single copy of Transcode Talker. Transcode Talker is really good as a one-of in the build. Basically use this card as a walking monster reborn. Plus, all 3 of these monsters actually have 2300 attack, so you can use them with your new Code Talker ANNIHIATION, which is so cool. We play a single copy of Splash Mage. Splash Mage is awesome in the build because this card is also a walking monster reborn. Play a single copy of Witkid. Witkid is really good to be able to work with your tuners, and it's just an awesome combo piece in the build. Play a single copy of G-Golem Crystal Heart. G-Golem Crystal Heart helps out so much in this build because this card actually lets you target an Earth Link monster in the graveyard and special summon it to the zone this card points to, basically helping you bring back your copy of Transcode Talker to your side of the field. We play 2 copies of Dark Infant. This card is really good as a 2-of in the build because this card has the ability, if this card is Link Summoned, you can add 1 Ignister Island from your deck to your hand. Also, when a Cyberse monster with 2300 original attack activates its effect, quick effect, you can actually move this card to a monster zone that this card points to, and also then you can change its attribute until the end of this turn, which is a great effect to be able to work their copy of Dark Templar, so you can actually move this card over out of its zones that it points to, so you can bring back 3 monsters to your side of the field, and you're usually going to want to turn this card into a divine monster, because you're never going to control a divine monster outside of this card, so you can have a bunch of different attributes, which is really neat. We lay a single copy of Alum Bersham. Alum Bersham is great to be able to play with our Math Mech engine, as this card actually has the ability to detach 2 materials in this card to add a Math Mech card from your deck to your hand, so you can add your copy of Addition to be able to use it as a link material, which is really cool, and it's just a great play in this deck. And then finally play a single copy of Firewall Saber Dragon. Firewall Saber Dragon is great to be able to play in the build, and we're actually just playing in this deck a Synchro and an XZ. We're not playing Fusion or Ritual in this build. They're a little bit difficult to be able to bring out to your side of the field, but this card is crazy powerful, and it's so cool to actually finally have a Synchro version of Firewall Dragon. But in this card is Synchro Summon, you can target a Cyberse monster in the graveyard or the banishment and add it back to your hand, and also you can target one of their Cyberse monsters you control with a level, and this card's level becomes that monster's, and if this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, you can add 1 eye spell from your deck to your hand, which is a pretty cool ability to grab the exact card that you need. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played an ANNIHIATION deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's so fun to be able to play, and it's insane how powerful it is now that we finally have some crazy powerful support for this deck. So that's going to be this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.